Welcome to the Biotech Startups podcast by Exceeder. Join us as we speak with first-time founders, serial entrepreneurs, and experienced investors about the challenges and triumphs of running a biotech startup, from pre-seed to IPO, with your host, Jon Chee. In our last episode, Sergey shared how his path from academia to entrepreneurship led him to biotech investing, what he learned from building startups, and how those lessons shaped his founder-first approach. If you missed it, check out part 3. In part 4, Sergey digs into fundraising from limited partners, how he and his team communicate a science-first thesis, and why they tell a story instead of selling. He also talks about the realities of raising a first fund, what defines good biotech investing in down markets, and why big pharma's liquidity, patent cliffs, and urgency create opportunity for venture-backed innovation. Finally, we'll hear about what's next for Sergey's firm and his vision for longevity as an evidence-driven field.
Fund 1 is fully invested, and now you're working on Fund 2. And Can you just talk a little bit about, previously you're angel investing, you're presumably your own money, and now you're investing, LP capital. Can you talk a little bit about fundraising from LPs and communicating, right? Like we talked about the struggle of communicating the importance of combating premature death, but I'm going to imagine it's like, it's like, what was your experience kind of like communicating that to LPs who perhaps have investment opportunities across all types of alternatives, whether they're, in private equity, real estate, whatever? Like, how has your experience been on that journey? And like for anyone, who's looking to get into VC, what are like some key considerations and, strategies and tactics and, philosophy around it?
First, I think that the fundraising narrative that you have, it's a mixed bag, but it's the fundraising narrative that you have largely depends on the industry where you play. If you are in the enterprise SaaS VC, you just pitch the return on capital.
Yeah.
Like no one gives a damn about whatever you will be investing. Honestly, now, like everyone is there for the money.
Yeah.
Like you can of course try to pitch me on the importance, strategic importance, and societal importance of enterprise SaaS, but you will mostly not win my heart over that one. Most probably not. So when it comes to biotech, look, the first fund was basically 30% GP capital. Right, so that also helps. And 30% is much higher, as you might imagine, than your normal threshold. I think normally it's like 2%, 5% or so. So that helps. And then was also the first time fund, which doesn't help because you don't have performance as a fund manager, and whoever is looking at you as a pragmatic investment opportunity, early stage fund, small fund for biotech, no previous track record, raises all the red flags if you approach it from the standardization point of view. If you have a pipeline of 40 funds every week that you look to distribute your capital with, that one most probably falls out of the picture, right? So I think the key is you're not liked by everyone, and it's not the point, I guess, at all. I also think that fundraising for a fund doesn't really differ from fundraising for a company. It's the same. It's the same thing. It's the same startup life. Doesn't really. You're still selling a product. You're still selling an expectation of profit. You're still selling a vision. Our thing. And I'm being absolutely honest here, okay? I'm not being overly dramatic with this. We never sell. We never pitch MLP to sell anything to anyone. I actually think, and Gary, my partner, would agree on this as well. I actually think that it is like not polite to try to shovel something into someone and try to get money out of this construct. What we do is we tell the story, like we tell our story, we tell how we ended up there, and I have quite a lot of personal stuff going on, as you now know. I mean, Gary has lost both of his parents to age-related diseases, cancer and Alzheimer's. So, like, he has quite a lot of personal fight to fight in the field as well. And so we just tell about our approach. We tell about the things that we did, the deals that we got into, why we got into those deals, and kind of just what is the vision for the future for us as an investor, why we're doing this in the first place, and whatever you look at our build out for Fund One, nothing in there basically indicates that this was done for the profit of fund managers, because all capital in management fees was spent on the team. All right, so everything is over-engineered from the very beginning. A large capital commitment from GPs, so it did help. I'm not saying it was a walk in the park. It was not. It was still quite hard to raise the first fund. It was, I think, 95% of first-time funds fail, or something like that. Like, there was this dramatic statistic where they're not closed eventually, and they just getting wound up. So that was the strategy, and it's pretty much the strategy for the fund too as well.
I love that.
We never sell.
I think that's a point I just want to highlight. It's just like the telling your story and putting your perspective and mission out there is kind of like operates kind of like a magnet, and like you start to like attract like-minded folks.
And like-minded folks is the folks you need, because we were very open from the very beginning with our LP base that we provide all the resource possible for you to become experts in the field. We provide co-investment opportunities, so you can get into allocations that the fund gets. We can kind of tag you along with co-investments if you want to double invest in some sort of company that you like personally and through the fund. We provide all the access to the resource, the scientific advisory board, to longevity clinics, longevity physicians in our network, whatever you want, right? So we're happy to share it. Just share it. And you say we try to help. And some did use it, some didn't. But some did, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is, you see, age-related diseases are a very personal topic, and sometimes people are personally engaged by these in the family or personally, or as the caretakers or caregivers to someone who in the family or relative loved one. So that also, I can't say it helps, because it doesn't really help. It's bad that these experiences happen, but it does sometimes motivate people to join, which is something apart from money and something apart from like a multiplier. Although in all fairness, the first fund in 3 years is now more than ×3 on capital, so which is a good multiplier in 3 years for VC in biotech, especially in this environment. And once we liquidate, we target kind of X5 cash on cash. That will be my internal aim for the LPs. So that will be good. And then finally, look, interestingly enough, and again, we never think about it in the same way that we don't think that if you end up in a hospital, there is no way of improving your healthcare with money dramatically. If we're talking about the standard of care, like you get what you get. In the very same way, if you end up in hospital with an age-related disease, the treatment that you will be getting, especially if it's cancer or neuro or cardiovascular, it will be branded by some sort of big pharma, right? So, Merck or Novo or whatever. But there is an extremely high chance that it exists because it was once funded by venture capitalists. Right, and it exists because some opportunistically minded individual or a group of individuals 10 years ago supported a biotech startup that had this idea of this mechanism of action in oncology, and then it was acquired by Roche, Novo Nordisk, whatever that is, and then you got it, as a patient. It's just a cycle of life in pharma, right? But the stuff that we get as patients is very often VC funded, and we wouldn't have it if VCs were not there with this kind of risk taking mentality. So again, venture capitalists are very often criticized by you're there to take profits and that's it. No, I mean we're also there to take a tremendous amount of risk that no big pharma, no corporate can allow to take, right? And we're risking our own money and we're risking our LP money, so we have our own stuff on the line, and then we have the fiduciary duty in front of the LPs not to screw up. And that, if you do this properly, if you do this job properly, that's a lot of risk taking, and that's a lot of brain power that is involved to actually make it proper. So yeah, I mean, not to walk in the park, and fundraising is not to walk in the park, and your track record is never enough. And people would always say, honestly, like I'm always laughing at it. It's like I fundraised for the last 10 years of my life. I'm as a founder, as whoever, right? Every single time I go out and fundraise, every single time everyone is talking about the environment being very bad for fundraising as of now. Like it's like a mantra. Everyone, I don't get it. Where are you getting this? Like everyone is like, oh, in this environment, very interesting. And it's like it's been 10 years, dude. Like everyone pretty much talks about the very same thing. Well, give me the environment when it was easy to fundraise.
Yeah.
But at the same time, biotech is also very unelastic when it comes to these economic downturns, right? Because again, the general public thinks that, oh, biotech is down, valuations are down, everything kind of went to shit at some point. But then in reality, yes, the rounds got discounted. They basically got discounted from hype inflated valuations to the real valuations of these companies. So it's good to be an investor in this kind of down cycle, whatever you want to call it. But then, interestingly enough, good science always raises money, and good companies are always acquired. So if your portfolio is incapable of doing anything and you are writing off stuff one by one, it just means that you've invested in things that are strategically not interesting to everyone in the market. Because big pharma doesn't run out of cash. It doesn't run out of liquidity. In fact, big pharma right now is sitting on the largest pool of liquidity, too much cash to spend on the one hand, and on the other hand, it's they're also sitting on erosion of their IP pipelines. So the major patents are expiring. Keytruda will soon expire, by the way, for Merck, and it's a big money maker, that one, and you need to replenish intellectual property pipelines. And you have pharma that is doing this successfully, like Novo Nordisk, like Lilly, the GLP-1 type of craze. And then you have pharma that failed to do the GLP-1, like Merck, and like, Roche and others. So like they are in the rush. It's actually a very interesting time where there's a lot of liquidity to be deployed, a lot of M&A to be done, and urgency. And urgency is something that pharma is very uncomfortable with. So,
and I love that perspective because, like, I whenever I talk to my parents, they're the kind of like the outsiders. They're like, they're just like kind of. I think it would be if my parents had heard that, they would have a far better understanding of where we sit in the grand scheme. Like we talked about how pharma thinks in like 20-year intervals, 30-year intervals. And the time is starting to come now. Like they have to do something. And I always think about that like movie, Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Have you seen that? Where they're in Hawaii.
Maybe, yeah.
And he went through a brutal breakup, and like he's learning how to surf. And then Kunu, the surf instructor, is like, you need to do less. He's like trying to learn how to get up on a surfboard. He's like, do less. And then he's just like laying on the surfboard. And he's like, now you're not doing anything, man. Like, it's kind of this thing like pharma can, the liquidity can only sit on the sidelines for so long until the point you're just not doing anything. And eventually there'll come a time when you need to like stand up and get on the board and actually get in there. And that's how I feel, and that's kind of what I'm seeing too. Because like, we work with early stage companies, early mid stage companies, and companies are still getting funded. Like it's still happening.
If they're good enough. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like if they're good enough. And I love your approach. This is like science first, science first, science first. And then from there, everything else flows. Cause I think that's like an important thing to remember. And, it sounds like you're, very busy. You have fund one, fund two, you have your animal health fund, you have the nonprofit, as you're looking 1 year, 2 years down the line, what's in store for you and what's in store for the firm?
I wouldn't blast you with some sort of grand vision of things, to be honest. I don't have a crystal ball. I do hope that I remain healthy for the time that is enough to achieve something with a fund, or with whatever we're doing, right? Because I think that eventually individuals are evaluated or scored, bad word, but we can keep it, by the added value they create for the society, like for the others. It's not necessary to know the others, right? Like it's not necessary to love society. Like I'm not very good with people, right? I don't like being in a crowd or like in a party or something like that.
Me neither.
And I haven't even started using alcohol in my life, so I haven't tried using alcohol for my whole life. So I'm not socializing in any. But still, I believe that you need to create added value, and we're creating added value through investing. So what I would really love to see is, these first fund companies reaching patients, reaching some sort of logical continuation of their work in actual patient population, and some of those can really move the needle, like really move the needle. And we have people with data on full tumor elimination in certain tumors, right? And like so that will be like absolutely tremendous effect right there. For the second fund, doing what we know best, right? What I want to end up with is I think our goal would be essentially a large array capital or Sequoia-like structure in longevity, which is still not there. Like there's none. One of the reasons why there is none is that the space is not big enough yet, I guess. And something that I'm always talking about at the conferences is that I really want to spend the next few years with our work, for example, and translating our work into creating universally understandable success stories in the longevity space. Because so far, the space is still very reserved for specialist investors. And history teaches us that in order to make any space grow, you need external capital, and you need more generalist capital, right? And the only way you get the more generalist capital in is you basically show the other world, the non-specialized world, that there is money to be made here, and there is growth to be experienced here, and you show it in the language that is accessible to that world, right? So you essentially it's like, look, how do you distinguish a professional from a rookie? A professional can explain very complicated things in very simple language to anyone, right? So this is how you understand that the person actually knows his stuff 100%. Same here. Like we really, as an industry, we really need to learn how to speak in an accessible language, and we need to show the world how these success stories were created in this field. We need to show exits. We need to show these kind of money making activities as well, so that generalist capital flows in. And once generalist capital flows in, this is where you have growth.
And I was going to just say, like, just on that aspect, like one of the motivations or things that gets me fired up about just this podcast is being able to have these conversations. And
I can imagine,
right? Just having these conversations where I think a lot of the time in science, there's a lot of navel gazing, like kind of inward looking. Whereas exactly what you said, we need more people to join the cause, if we want this to be exactly what you said, like where we want it to be in the next few years. So it's like it's a motivation, and like that's why I really enjoy hearing all this, because it's like if we continue to just like look inward, the progress isn't going to be nearly as fast or nearly as big.
And I'll also, I guess, add that I really hope that our work also contributes to shaping longevity as a data-driven field, as a concrete evidence-based field, and kind of we help combat all the snake oil that is out there as well. Because one of the issues that we face with the industry is a lot of companies are essentially deteriorating the image of the field by just exploiting it, right? And the thing with consumers is that consumers are mostly uneducated in specific fields, right? So it is sometimes easy to, get some celebrity endorsements in, or even fake AI generate these celebrity endorsements, which is the new thing apparently now, and just sell useless crap, which is in the best case scenario harmless and useless, and in the worst case scenario harmful, right? And we've seen we are going through a lot of these cycles back and forth in the longevity field, and with useless supplements, with questionable supplements, with questionable therapies, with potentially harmful therapies. We can go great length into regulating, stem cell therapies, for example, for consumer usage. Like, are these allowed? Are these not allowed? Or under which conditions these are allowed? And things like that. But we really want to contribute to the field in this value-based, evidence-based way, with our approach, right? So apart from building an evergreen fund, we also want to shape the narrative, and to some level, I think we've succeeded already, because in 2021 when we started the first fund, I was very unpopular with my narrative of going after diseases versus going after aging, right? But now it changed. Now the industry is talking about, hey, let's go after diseases, let's go after assets. But pharma only buys assets, so only molecules. So if you want to partner with pharma, you need to have your own pipeline. And like, hey, if you're an AI for drug discovery company without your own pipeline, then what's unique in your AI for drug discovery engine? Like, why don't you have your best assets that you've designed by yourself, right? I think, well, where are they? Are you unique? So things like that, and it's changing. It's changing from this, romanticized, sometimes water in the sand in terms of capital type of unsustainable structure into something really sustainable, into something very evidence driven. And we're honestly just happy to see that, because we've been with the industry from the very beginning, and we would like to see it grow. And we do not mind new people come in. We welcome new people come in. We're happy to share deals. We're happy to share experience, competencies, etc. Okay, I'm very certain saying that we're not competing with anyone in the field. Like, we're not competing over deals, or if anything, we need more people in the deals. So yeah, these things. I think that's the outlook,
I
really,
love that.
for the firm.
I love that. And Sergey, you've been so generous with your time. I've learned a lot and I've had a lot of fun. It's a rare opportunity to hear one story like this. So thank you for sharing and being willing to share. And in traditional closing fashion, we have two questions. First
Okay.
question,
Go for it.
would you like to give any shout outs to anyone who's supported you along the way?
Oh, I think standard set of actors. Pretty much all the colleagues, everyone. Oh, look, the team that we're working with, and the team that I've been working with in all my endeavors, because people are the most important by a mile. Just generally, the ones that I've worked with, I think I owe everything to these people. And I think in the fund, we owe, as managing partners, everything to our deal team, and others that that spend their time and share their vision with us, and get their work done. Because you should be, as cliche as it sounds, the dumbest in the room. Otherwise, it doesn't really make sense, right? You did something wrong. So yeah, that's really the shout. I won't go cliche with all the thanks mom sort of thing, right? But
You gotta thank your mom, man. Like,
well, thanks mom.
yeah, thanks,
Well,
mom.
she knows I'm grateful anyway.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And she will probably not see this interview,
yeah,
so
yeah,
that's
yeah. You'll be
she,
surprised. Maybe
she,
you'll
she
find her way.
she knows.
Yeah.
But yeah, generally speaking, I think we owe everything to people we work with, and people that decided um, to spend their life and their careers with us as managing partners. It is of tremendous importance, honestly.
Absolutely. And it's a responsibility too. And I think, I feel the exact same way about that. It's just like, thinking about life in general, just life is just comprised of like moments in time, and life is short. And your team has chosen exactly what you said, to spend these moments in time with you and with the team and the rest of the team. And that's like, no, that's not a trivial matter. So I love that. And second, or the last closing question is, if you can give any advice to your 21-year-old self, what would it be?
That's a hard one.
Yeah.
The only advice I can give to my 21-year-old self is advices don't work.
Yeah. You just got to go figure it out.
Generally speaking, my advices don't work. But whenever you actually need, and this is actually that's pretty important, whenever you actually need an advice on something that you do not know how to start, or how to solve, or how to figure out, you should really remember that someone in this world has already figured it out, and someone in this world has already built something that you are trying to build, really. So it's not that you are the first one. It's not that you are stepping on the moon, before the Apollo mission, right? So it's like, it's not the blue ocean there.
Yeah.
And you should only take the advice from people who already did whatever you're asking your advice about, or the advice on. Do not take advice from, like, these couch analysts,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Living room analysts. It's I think that's important. But generally, advices don't work. But if you need one, seek one from the person who has already achieved whatever you're trying to achieve, and whatever you're asking about. That would give you the actual perspective, and that would also eliminate the jealousy factor, because the person already has it anyway.
Yeah.
And so that would eliminate the bias of, just saying something to you, or trying to diminish your, or somewhat devalue your eagerness to do something, just because, right? I think that would be a good piece of advice, and very generalistic, but yet I would. 21-year-old me would understand, I guess.
Yeah.
Although again, honestly, if like a 33-year-old me right now would like lay all this stuff ahead on the 21-year-old, like all the shit you need to plow through, it's like
It might be.
I
It might have been a treacherous.
the 21-year-old would take like a long, hard thing
Yeah.
about this stuff ahead, and maybe stay in the parliament. No,
Yeah.
joking. I mean, I would not.
Yeah.
I would not stay in the parliament for sure, though.
Well, Sergey, thank you so much for your time. This has been so fun, and I know all the listeners out there are going to find, incredible value in kind of your journey and all the learnings that you've, kind of gathered along the way. So, the next time you're in the States, do let me know. I'd love to grab coffee with you. And honestly,
San Francisco, I'm gonna be there.
Yeah, let me know, and we'll plan for a sunny SF day.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
get rid of the fog.
Yeah. Thanks, Sergey. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Jon.
Thanks for listening to our 4-part series featuring Sergey Jakimov. From his early years in post-Soviet Latvia to founding startups across data and medtech, and now backing science-first founders in longevity, Sergey's story highlights how conviction, adaptability, and clear thinking can turn vision into impact, both for patients and for the future of longevity. If you enjoyed the show, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend. Join us for our next series featuring Chris Ramadurai, partner at AIX Ventures, an AI-focused seed-stage venture capital firm backing top startups and practitioners in artificial intelligence, healthcare, and life sciences. At AIX, Chris leads technical diligence, deal sourcing, and portfolio operations, having sourced and managed more than 45 early and growth stage investments, driving over $20 billion in cumulative portfolio value. His track record includes successful exits and unicorns such as Volumetric Biotechnologies, Pathology Watch, Trials AI, and more. A Harvard and Oxford-trained biomolecular engineer, Chris has supported more than 25 pioneering scientific breakthroughs, from the world's first AI-designed drug to enter human trials, to the first commercial rideshare satellite launched into space. He has served as chairman and board member for leading AI and life sciences companies, lectured at Harvard, and published research spanning applied engineering, AI, and medicine. From startups and venture creation to global efforts in AI and healthcare innovation, Chris's path reflects the level of vision and commitment needed to advance how we think about science, technology, and the future of human health, making this a conversation you won't want to miss. The Biotech Startups podcast is produced by Exceeder. Don't want to miss an episode? Search for the Biotech Startups podcast wherever you get your podcasts and click subscribe. Exceeder provides research labs with equipment leases on founder-friendly terms to support paths to exceptional outcomes. To learn more, visit our website www.exceeder.com. On behalf of the team here at Exceeder, thanks for listening. The Biotech Startups podcast provides general insights into the life science sector through the experiences of its guests. The use of information on this podcast or materials linked from the podcast is at the user's own risk. The views expressed by the participants are their own and are not the views of Exceeder or sponsors. No reference to any product, service, or company in the podcast is an endorsement by Exceeder or its guests.